is thinking.
I'm dedicated to it. I can't be stopped.
Well, glory, glory, hallelujah. There is an American dream, and mine started out in the wild grounds of the Rouge River in Detroit and in Freiburg, Pennsylvania, being taught by my father, Warren Henry Nugent, a sergeant, a drill sergeant in the U.S. Army Cavalry, to aim small, miss small, and shoot groundhogs in Freiburg, Pennsylvania at the Ginkle Farm. And I cannot tell you how excited, I'm so excited to have the 48th governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. Do you not feel welcome to the Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire?
Hey, Ted, I feel welcome. And I love knowing that your journey into the woods started in Freiburg, Pennsylvania. And I think your story is like so many Pennsylvanians, right? It's generational, it's family, and it's a connection to the land. And I think that history, that heritage, man, that is so important, and I respect it a ton, and I'm glad to get the chance to talk to you.
Well, number one, thank you for calling, because you are a Democrat, and I'm not sure, you may be my only Democrat friend. And we'll get into that another time, hopefully around a campfire during the deer season in Pennsylvania on a Sunday. Governor Shapiro, you called me after you signed House Bill 1431 to finally put the kibosh to end the indecency, the freedom-crushing insanity of some man telling a Pennsylvania conservation family that they only have 1 day a week to hunt. You can only hunt Saturday. Thank you for signing that bill. Now the families of Pennsylvania have the God-given right, clearly, as authorized by the great Governor Josh Shapiro, to have a full weekend. And I know why you did it, but explain to the Spirit Campfire. We got some rugged individuals, some real hell raisers here with the Nugent family. You may have noticed. But explain, Governor Shapiro, why you were inclined to free up the entire week for Pennsylvania conservation families.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's about freedom, and I think it's about respect. And let me explain. You know, I am blessed to serve, as you said, as the 48th governor of Pennsylvania, a place founded by William Penn in 1681. And Penn founded this place as a place that would be focused on freedom specifically. And obviously for him, religious freedom was a big piece of that. Because of that heritage we have in faith, in 1682, they put in place a ban on hunting on the land on Sundays. In effect, that ban lived until my signature on a bill just a couple weeks ago, in part because you had some politicians who were saying, hey, look, that's the way it's always been done. But also in part because this is one of those issues where you really do have to bring people together from all different walks of life and different parties and actually find a way to both respect our history, but also acknowledge that we need to expand freedom in Pennsylvania. We need to think about that dad or mom or grandpa or grandma or aunt, uncle, whatever, that wants to be able to take their kid out on the 1 day a week where they're actually free, or that thinks about what kind of a boon this can be to Pennsylvania by saying to someone in Maryland, New York, whatever, neighboring state, hey, you don't have to just show up in Pennsylvania for a few hours on Saturday. Come spend the entire weekend with us. Come, stay in a hunting cabin and enjoy our small towns, enjoy the northern tier, enjoy these beautiful outdoors for an entire weekend. So, look, it's a way for us to respect our heritage, yes, but also grow into a way that we have more freedom, and also acknowledge that this is great for families if they choose to hunt. And finally, it's good for the economy. Now, look, Ted, I want to be like brutally honest with you here. I am not a hunter myself. I don't pretend to be, but I have so much respect for our Commonwealth's hunters and sportsmen. And I thought this was the right thing to do. And the last point I'll make is this. Look, obviously, you and I have different views on politics. You may find it interesting to note, though, that I'm one of the only governors in the entire country with a divided legislature. I've got a House led by Democrats, a Senate led by Republicans. Why do I mention that to you? Not to be political or partisan, but I mention it to you because the only way to get that bill to my desk is with the support of people from both parties. and we built a consensus in support of our hunters and in support of more freedom, and we got it done in Pennsylvania.
Well, you know, Governor, God bless you for that. We know that a lot of families have been lobbying their elected employees. And the great thing about you, Governor Shapiro, is that you acknowledge you are an employee. You're an employee of We the People. The Liberty Bell is in Pennsylvania, the #1 trophy buck, the most magnificent stag ever killed in Pennsylvania was killed in the city limits of Philadelphia. You have bow hunting in Pittsburgh because the renewable resource must be managed for health and balance. So what you've really accomplished, you've given a great boost to the economy because those hunting families will buy beer and ice and taxidermies and licenses and supplies, restaurants, hotels, food, lodging, groceries, tractors, seed, food plots. I mean, the billions of dollars in the Pennsylvania economy. You just gave it a boost. So we can be blood brothers. You're a Democrat, but you know what, Governor Josh? You are my blood brother. I thank you for that. And then the families of Pennsylvania and the surrounding states, they will come to the great state of Pennsylvania, the top hunting state in the nation, along with Michigan and Wisconsin. So you are connected to the most important families who are down to earth and grounded.
Down to earth. They're grounded and they're down to earth and they're connected to the land. And to your point about it being big business, hunting right now without Sundays, right, has been a $2 billion annual, economic activity for Pennsylvania. I've got 15,000 people in Pennsylvania who put food on their table for their families because they work in jobs related to hunting. And just think about that. That's now going to expand. It's also going to be great for, cabins and hotels and bars and restaurants and the different, things you don't necessarily think of every day when you think of hunting, but they're all going to get a boost as a result of this. The outdoors is a huge part of our economy in Pennsylvania, and this is only going to make it bigger.
Yeah, well, God bless you. I want you to remember a name. Fred Bear was born in Pennsylvania. I believe it was in 1908. Fred Bear, he initiated the lifestyle of bow hunting, which is why Pennsylvania has been a major force in the discipline, the higher level of awareness. I have been bombarded from my hunting family friends in Pennsylvania that they go, Governor Josh Shapiro finally opened up Sunday. So on behalf of those wonderful conservation families, they're rock solid in the asset column for clean air, soil, and water, which can only come from wildlife habitat that is managed to optimally produce a balanced, healthy wildlife, not just game animals we can eat, but songbirds and endangered species, endangered flora and fauna. So remember the name Fred Bear, because he is a huge inspiration for conservation families, and he's from Pennsylvania, Josh.
Well, you told me two important historical notes, one about Fred Bear and the other about the buck in Philadelphia. And so that's important for me to learn. I'm a student of our history in our Commonwealth, and thanks for giving me something else to learn, man. It's good to be with you, Ted. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Governor Josh Shapiro, the 48th governor of the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, land of the free, home of the brave, and the Liberty Bell, and Fred Bear. Thank you for coming on the Spirit Campfire, because you deserve me, Governor Shapiro, and I think I deserve you.
There you go. Thank you, Ted.
Have a wonderful day. Give my best to Manuel. How about that, everybody, at the Spirit Campfire? The Democrat governor of Pennsylvania, who was pressured by the real conservation, and I don't mean in a mean-spirited way, I mean in a loving, representative way. Governor Shapiro responded to the heartbeat, the priorities of Pennsylvania families who have been fighting diligently, especially on the screen, hunternation.org. Now, a lot of organizations, there was the Pennsylvania Bow Hunters, and there's Pennsylvania conservation organizations. I love and salute all of you. But it was John and Dan and the Hunter Nation modus operandi that we constantly called the governor's office. We constantly communicated with the Pennsylvania Game Commission. And the very concept of a man, any man, anywhere, this is not about Governor Josh Shapiro. This is about the Pennsylvania Game Commission. That there was a human being, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, on the Pennsylvania Game Commission, And in the legislature of Pennsylvania, and still there's 7 more states, that some man will look at a free American and go, you know, during the rut, during your sacred hunting season, God's natural season of harvest, some man has dictated you only get 1 day a weekend. That's insanity. That is so rude. It is not only rude to the conservation families and the economy and the health of the wild ground that produces quality air, soil, and water, but it's rude to God, because God created spring, summer, fall, and winter. And if you don't responsibly and morally harvest the surplus of certain game animals in the fall, the winter conditions will not support them. And they will starve to death. They will be slaughtered by vehicles on the highway, but now they'll end up on the grill with families paying gobs of money for conservation, a healthy, balanced environment. And Governor Josh Shapiro, my friend, the 48th governor of the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, did the right thing. Now we're going after the rest of those states, because I get 7 days a week during the hunting season, whether it's legal or not, because no man can possibly tell me otherwise. I'll be right back. More truth, logic, and common sense on the Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire. That's what I do. I'm your spirit daddy.
This one's for Charlie Daniels. I was trucking up the highway, minding my own lane, with some dude in a Prius went and flipped me off. Guess my redneck hit him wrong. Seems like everyone these days is a ticking time bomb full of hate for folks like me who don't agree and ain't ever gone